so don't pick your mans up.
And just because people used to come through shooting us every day. And this block, words can't even explain, man. Can't even explain.
Hey man, Blue School Valley on 5-way on money. Young Money, man, they in the building.
600 boy, LA, man, LA Capone, man, get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
number 9, man, number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, you little bitch. Yeah. What is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Brick Squad, boy. Fuck is you talking about, boy?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you 15, 16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying?
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years old?
They say what they want to say.
How old are you?
300.
The story of KTS Vaughn, a.k.a. Cutthroat to Smoker.
Now get back to the hood, man. We got tough.
KTS Vaughn, or Big Cutthroat to Smoker, as he was also called, was born on December 1, 1993 in Chicago, Illinois. KTS Vaughn, whose real name was Devin Davis, grew up with his three brothers Dre, Vinny and KJ. Vinny was Vaughn's real brother while Dre and KJ were their half-brothers. Vaughn also had a sister that stays outside of Chicago. Unlike many other children who grew up in Chicago's ghettos, Vaughn had both parents in the household during his upbringing. Both his father, Vinny, and his mother Lanya. His father, Vinny, was a GD, so it was natural for the four brothers to also become GD, even though it was Stones, Lords and Beatties on the east side of Chicago. Davis had quite a few cousins. Among others, he was a cousin with the infamous Zico from 051 Young Money. Zico got shot to death in 2008. Aki, THF 46, who was later convicted of the murder, tried to escape Chicago but was later arrested by the FBI fairly quickly. Just like I mentioned before, Devin's dad, Vinny, was a GD. However, it is quite unknown whether how deep inside the streets his father was, but there are many indications that he was a full-on gang member. Big Vinny would later be killed a year after his own son, KTS Vaughn, was killed. His killer is named Devin D. Murray, and was part of the East Side SETI block, which KTS actually was strong allies with. Vinny was sitting in a parked car on the 6600 block of South Michigan Avenue in the city's Park Manor neighborhood with a 22-year-old girl. Devin D. approached the car and shot Vinny 5 times, and the 22-year-old girl 3 times. Tragically, Vinny was found dead at the scene, but luckily the girl survived the shots. Devin D. was later arrested, and later convicted of murder in the attempted murder, after 2 witnesses pointed him out, one of whom was in the back seat of Vinny's car. KTS Vaughn was the youngest of the 4 brothers, with KTS Dre being the oldest. All the brothers would end up in the criminal path. KTS Dre started first because he was the oldest, and then the older brothers would hang on. Since Dad was also a criminal, it was tragically quite normal for the brothers to get in that way as well. All the brothers became GD because of their father, and started hanging around 75th and Cottage, which was KTS main block. This was, among other things, where Von recorded the grimy music video for his most famous song, Kill to Survive. His brother Dre first claimed Lakeside, Von and Vinny first claimed E Block, Vice Lords, before they all flipped to KTS, GDs. Von grew up with people like KTS Rio, Posto, Lakeside, Ronimo, Moose Block, Pac Migo, Pocket Town, and Denny G, Pocket Town. Around 2008 to 2009, Von and his brothers were out on the streets in their early teens. Because that was where their friends were, it was the only normal for them. Von started robbing people and fighting all the time around 2010. He actually robbed No Limit Greg back in 2011. It was also around that year that Von started playing with guns. He had already started shooting at NLMB and Sircon City gangsters, who were KTS main enemies. 2011 was also the year that KTS Von would take his first life. KTS started as an alliance between Lakeside GDs, Pocket Town and 075 Vice Lords. However, KTS is also its own set that houses on 75th and Cottage. Today there is hardly a KTS alliance left. Now it is KTS and D Block on 75th and Cottage as their own sets. KTS is a fairly small set but has many killers and is cliqued up with many other sets. There are both disadvantages and advantages to being such a small set as KTS actually is, and fighting against numerically and financially large sets such as NLMB, which is an incredibly large set. The advantage of being a small set like KTS, and fighting large sets like NLMB, is that it is easier to catch an enemy because there are more of them, therefore small sets like KTS and Black Mob are up on NLMB. The downside of being such a small set is that they are often not financially strong, because almost everyone in the gang is shooters. The few who sell do not do enough money to be able to compete with a set like NLMB, which has many older people who make an incredible amount of money, and who also teaches younger people how to sell. They also get a lot of money from both Lil Bibby and G Herbo. Another disadvantage is that such a small set can become extinct quite quickly. That's why NLMB often outlasts their ops, even though they lose many members. KTS has many sets behind their backs. KTS main allies are E-Block, Pocket Town, Lakeside, Black Mob, Death Row and MTG079. Pocket Town is a large set that makes an incredible amount of money, and also has many killers with multiple bodies. For example, Lil Les comes from Pocket Town. Lil Les has multiple bodies and invented both Dro City and Jaro City. However, he is currently in jail and will be released in 2030. Lakeside is a fairly small set, much like Black Mob. It's from Lakeside, among others, the member named Posto came from. Posto, who G Herbo is constantly mocking in his songs. Lakeside had a lot of shooters, and many are still alive, just like with Black Mob. For example, Shoddy Hit from Black Mob is still alive. Shoddy Hit was a big problem for NLMB and ABK. He killed One Eye, Molly and Richie Rich from NLMB, and Jock and Diddy Bop from ABK. He was also present when Simo, Pistol P and Lil Von were killed from NLMB. Death Row is a fairly small set but has many shorties that have terrorized NLMB lately. MTG079 is a pretty deep set but not nearly as deep as NLMB. They make a lot of money and have many shooters. For example, they are responsible for Capo's death. All of Capo's killers are still alive. KTS's main enemies are NLMB, ABK, and Circon City gangsters. Then there are smaller sets and cliques around the gangs. No Limit is a huge set that has been around since the 80s. They got endless with killers, trappers and robbers. They also got rappers like Lil Bibby, CEO now, and G Herbo who provide them with guns and money. Because NLMB is such a large set, they have also lost extremely many members over the years. However, NLMB still has many of its main killers and members alive. For example, Mally, Mineski, Cairo, Crazy James, Juvie, Doo-Wop, Wet 'em Up and Merch Money, who all have bodies. Because NLMB is such an incredibly large set, there are many cliques within the gang, and the different cliques are cool with different gangs. There are shorties who have had problems with Circon City, while others is cool with them. Some cliques is cool with 051 Young Money because of family ties. For example, No Limit G Slim, who was Melly's and Woo's uncle. G Slim rocked with 051 Heavy. G Slim's son, Lil G Slim, also paid homage to Melly when he died. Then there are people like Doo-Wop, Mally, Mineski and Wet 'em Up, who hate 051, because they are close to a block, THF 46 and 300. ABK is a pretty deep set, located on 73rd and Coles. ABK have been around for a long time and they got many killers. For example, they were the ones that killed Shooter Shells, which was a really dirty kill. The shooters were taking turns shooting him in his face. They did him dirty because Shooter Shells shot Yogi, then stood over him, and gave him all face shots, because Yogi killed Shells' brother Scoops, while Shells was locked up. ABK mainly beef with Lakeside and Black Mob. Circon City Gangsters is also a big set that has been around for a long time. Circon City was allegedly the set that got KTS Vaughn, but there are many different theories about who it was. I will go through all the theories later in the video. It is still very unknown who actually got him. There are many sets that wanted to claim him after he died, because he terrorized many sets on the east side. Sircon City is located on 74th and 75th in Dorchester. On April 9, 2011, KTS Vaughn caught his first body, which would be the start of a violent murder spree. Michael Lee, 23, also known as Gotti, was sitting in his car Saturday night in the 5500 block of South King Drive. Suddenly a car pulled up next to his car. KTS Vaughn stuck out his arm and shot Gotti in the head, who later died at the hospital. Gotti, who was from 8x13, was honored by the gang taking the name Gotti World. KTS Vaughn and other members started mocking Gotti on Twitter, and in several songs. Among other things, they printed t-shirts that said, "Don't go Gotti." This was just the beginning of what would become a violent murder spree. There are many who have incorrectly described KTS Vaughn as a thoroughbred psychopath, which he was not. There are many in Chicago who have shown tendencies to be psychopaths, but who were not. People like Melly and Cide have long been singled out as psychopaths. In fact, they are a product of their environment. Some just have less morals than others. Many I have talked to have said that KTS Vaughn was actually a nice normal guy, but who has seen things a teenager should not see, and been around people that you should not be around. I think it is important not to make KTS Vaughn something he was not. Yes, he was a vicious murderer, a robber, and a man of violence, and showed no regard for a life at all. But he was not a Terminator psychopath that many want to make him look like. After killing Gotti, KTS Vaughn continued to terrorize both Sircon City, Gotti World, and NLMB in 2011, but it would take a year until he caught both his second and his third body, at the same time. It was on that hit that Vaughn really showed his ruthlessness. On February 20th, 2012, a group of members from No Limit stood outside a liquor store in the 2500 block of East 79th Street, at the intersection with Essex Avenue. Suddenly a car appeared on the street. KTS Vaughn opened fire from inside the car with his Tech 9. He started spraying bullets into the group of people. Rock and Alamo, who were both hit by several bullets, died instantly on the spot. Rock was hit while running into the store, while Alamo was standing outside, and was hit by multiple bullets. What many do not know is that G Herbo, No Limit Wet 'Em Up, and Pharaoh were 3 of the 4 who were injured by the bullets, but luckily survived. In total, 2 people were killed, and 4 was injured. The scene was left completely bloody, with bodies lying everywhere according to witnesses to the incident. Bullet holes were found all around the place, and inside the store. Body after body was carried out on a stretcher, injured, as well as dead. Gregory Alamo Glincy was a 57-year-old father to 4 children. Family members of Gregory say that he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, that he had left dinner to go down and shop in the store. However, Alamo was not an innocent angel as many would like it to be. He taught many young No Limit members how to trap and slide, and certainly had his not-so-innocent days himself as well. He was also mentioned by G Herbo in his song, East Side Story, where he said, "Still F the ops crazy, R.I.P. Alamo." Jamal Rock Harris, 19, was a well-loved member and shooter, just like Kobe. No Limit adopted the nickname, Rock Block, in his honor. It was after the murder of both Rock and Alamo that a high-profile event was to take place on October 24, 2012. Of course, I'm talking about the YouTube video, No Lacking Part 3. KTS Vaughn, KTS Stray, Posto, and some other KTS members caught No Limit Kobe, Cairo, Moody, and another No Limit member. KTS Stray, who was older, approached 17-year-old Cairo and told him, "Say fuck Rock." Cairo refused to say it, and then Dre hit him with his right hand and broke his jaw. Moody then came out of a bathroom at the restaurant with a gun in his waistband. KTS then left the restaurant and headed back to their hood. The No Limit members then retrieved weapons and followed them. They had both automatic weapons and pistols with them. Moody, Kobe, and Cairo all fired shots. Posto ended up getting shot in the arm. They all ran in panic back towards their hood, except KTS Vaughn, who laughed, ran and filmed everything, like it was a game. G Herbo actually acknowledged this incident in a song that was dropped 2015. The song is called Back at It Part 3, with both Herbo and his close friend Smoke Da Don on the track. Herbo started off dissing both Dead Lakeside and Black Mob members when he said, "I'm smoking on Posto, I'm smoking on Bud, Lil Scoobs and T-Bone." Later in the song he would acknowledge what happened at McDonald's, where he said, "YouTube the No Lacking 3 video, yeah, a few of them gone, all of them gone," which is not entirely true, because KTS Stray is still alive. Vaughn loved incidents like this. Just as you can see at the end of the clip, Vaughn laughs even though his friends were in great danger. KTS Vaughn had no mercy. Not for boys, and not for girls. KTS is quite notorious for being a set with many members that were abusive against women. For example, KTS Rio, who was in a super toxic relationship with J Money's ex-girlfriend, and used to beat her often. King Von tried to intervene a few times, and told Rio to stop beating her. However, Rio did not want to listen, and told him to mind his own business. KTS Vaughn was also very abusive, and has beaten and spat on girls several times. He spat at a girl once because she listened to G Herbo, and slapped another girl because she merged something on his dead friend Ronnie Mo. Vaughn got angry because he claimed she did not even know him. He also used to diss Fazo's mom, who was raped and then murdered while she was pregnant. KTS Vaughn proved time and time again that he had no sense of morals.
Yo, day little hoe, come turn up Mo Block, man. Real killers, real hitters out there, man. That J's. Fuck John, oh fuck John, that Gotti. Fuck Fazo and his mama.
One thing to be clear about is that KTS Vaughn and his crew absolutely torched No Limit during 2012 to 2015. No Limit really had a difficult time, but still managed to keep it up against Lakeside, MTG and Pocket Town. It was Black Mob and KTS who really terrorized them daily. No Limit was at war with basically the entire East Side. Just like the Lil Bibby says in the intro, people used to come through shooting at us every day. That was really the case. No Limit were completely taken aback by both KTS and Black Mob, where KTS Vaughn, shoddy hit and shooter shells caused the most damage. About 1 week after the incident at McDonald's, it would slam again. On October 29th, KTS Vaughn and his blood brother Vinny were sitting outside Carlos Big Los Alexander's home on the 7900 block of South Escanaba Avenue, waiting for him. Carlos had just been buying newspaper and coffee. When Carlos was on his way back to his house, KTS Vaughn and his brother Vinny shot him in his back from behind with several shots. They then ran and fled on foot. Carlos was a 33-years-old well-respected member from No Limit. He was described as a guy that everyone wanted to hang out with. He was also the father of 4 children. A longtime friend named Leonard Thomas said that Carlos was not into the streets, he took care of his family. Leonard and Carlos had known each other since they were 7 years old. They both lived 1 block across on South Muskegon Avenue. He says that when they were little they had sleepovers almost every night. As adults, they often watched football together and cheered on their beloved Chicago Bears together. Leonard took his friend's death very hard. He could not go to work for several days. Just like the members of, for example, THF and 051, or Oblock and STL, members of NLMB and KTS often FaceTimed with each other. KTS Vaughn, for example, FaceTimed with both Herbo and Cairo several times, and even gave Cairo credit for being a ruthless savage. Dre also talked to Cairo on live stream a few times. This was very common. They could talk to each other as if they were friends, but in reality they would smoke each other on sight. It's very surreal in a way. If you do not know anything about the story of 051 and THF 46, and Melly and Zoo, for example, you would have thought they were friends when you saw their live stream on Instagram.
Charlie. His little herb a bitch.
What you on,
hey,
bro?
Man. What's up, little niggas?
I've been. Why you steady wuffing at me, bro?
No, man, what you on, little bro, man? Why you on here capping, man, like this, man? Why you playing on here like this, man?
Hey, who was that on the side? Hey, I'm finna hang up, bro, because you got niggas looking at me, bro. I'm finna hang up because you got niggas looking at me, bro. You got niggas looking at me, I'm finna hang up.
Scared.
Nah, I ain't coming like that.
No, that's because they scared.
You got niggas peep. I want to see their face. Let me see their face.
They don't want to see nothing. See what? See
I
what?
want to see their face. I don't got nothing for him to
Watch
say.
out, bro.
I don't got nothing.
After already doing so much dirt both in 2011 but mainly in 2012, KTS Vaughn, but mainly Posto, was looking for revenge after being shot in the arm after the incident at McDonald's. But mostly, Vaughn and Posto were out looking for revenge on NLMB because they killed Lolo from Lakeside. On April 4th, 2013, Lolo and another man had been walking along the 2700 block of East 80th Street when Mad Max, aka C-Money, and G Herbo approached them. C-Money shot Lolo in his chest. His friend tried to run away, but Herb managed to shoot him in his ankle before they both fled the scene on foot. D'Angelo Lolo Simmons was shot in the abdomen, with the bullet tearing through his stomach, liver, pancreas and aorta before coming to rest in the soft tissue on the right side of the back. Simmons was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 7:04 p.m. Lolo's neighbor Mike Smith described Lolo as a loved guy in the area. Lakeside later named their area Lolo World to honor his memory. Before he would get his revenge on NLMB, however, he would drop his fifth body and his first for the year. On May 25, 2013, KTS Vaughn and a few others were out looking for ops. They drove through Sircon City's territory and spotted Pharaoh, Sircon City gangsters, who had previously dissed Ronnie Mo, Pocket Town. However, that was not the only reason why Pharaoh was killed. Pharaoh was actually a killer. Pharaoh had gone down from his home to dump the garbage because his father Z-Buddy Denard, 82, was unable to make the walk downstairs to the nearby alley himself. Z-Buddy adopted Pharaoh when he was 2 years old. When Pharaoh was on his way down to throw the garbage in the alley, a car suddenly pulled up near the alley. KTS Vaughn jumped out of the car and shot Pharaoh 8 times in the head. It was a really dirty kill. There was not much left of Pharaoh's face after KTS Vaughn and the others left the place in a car. Pharaoh was pronounced dead at 9:30 p.m. in the 7300 block of South Dorchester Avenue, said Officer John Mirabelli. Pharaoh loved to rap, play basketball and was a typical kid, said Jennifer Eason, a family friend. The family strongly rejected any gang involvement as a motive for his death. About a month after KTS Vaughn killed Pharaoh, he would once again show his lack of morale. Vaughn started tweeting things like, "Pharaoh from Sircon new name fried face." This was extremely disrespectful, but he would also top it. On June 19th, Pharaoh's ex-girlfriend wrote to him on Twitter. She wrote that he is disrespectful, that she cannot wait until someone catches him, and that they are going to make sure he does not get a funeral. She was also disrespectful to his dead friends. KTS Vaughn answered her about a week later, and wrote, "You know Pharaoh caught face shots." This really shows the horror and the evilness in this. It's not just someone who dies who gives a point to the other gang. It is a mother's child, a father's son, a friend, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, a cousin, or just think of the trauma that lives with those who happen to see someone get killed. Or imagine that you're being a father, your son gets killed by a gang. Later you are openly taunted on social media by those who did it. This is not something special for KTS Vaughn, it applies everywhere in the city. Think how hard it must be for example models' parents, and loved ones, who got to see King Von tweet, "Me and T-Roy man, we murder for fun," or for Shaq's parents, who got to see their son's killer right on Twitter, LOL. Shaq was laying next to that garbage can, smelling like one. On August 10, 2013, approximately 4 months after Lolo was shot to death, both KTS Vaughn, Posto and the entire Lakeside as well as KTS, would get their revenge on NLMB. Jacoby Kobe Heron, of the 7900 block of South Oglesby Avenue, was shot and killed outside a McDonald's restaurant in the 2400 block of East 79th Street at 4:02 a.m. This was outside the same McDonald's where the video I showed you earlier, No Lacking Part 3, took place. Kobe had just been with Herbo, Cairo and some other No Limit members partying, and shooting dice on the block. When Kobe was going home, he was asked if he wanted a ride home, but he didn't, he managed himself, he said. When he had walked about 100 meters from McDonald's, a car was pulling up next to him. It was KTS Vaughn, KTS Rio and Posto. Rio was the driver. When they saw Kobe, KTS Vaughn started spraying Kobe with bullets to his body, then Posto hopped out of the car, and shot Kobe in the head with several shots. As soon as Herb, Cairo and the others heard the shots, they ran towards the place where Kobe was lying. Both ran with pistols ready to be fired if the car were still in sight, but it was not. Kobe was a loved member for No Limit. He was close to most of the people in the gang. He was extremely close to people like G Herbo, Cairo, Mineski, Rock, Bibby, Capo and many more. He was a guy everyone liked. To my knowledge, Kobe was a shooter but not a killer. Just like Rock, Kobe became an icon and legend in NLMB after his death. G Herbo has mentioned him and his death in several songs, and named a legendary album after him, Ballin' Like I'm Kobe. For example, G Herbo topic him in the song, Sacrifice, where he said, "It was like 4 a.m. on the morning of August 10th, we were on the block shooting dice, yeah, that was when Kobe went." NLMB was eager to get back for Kobe, and that it would come fast. On November 23rd, NLMB would have their revenge for Kobe. Posto had just been released from prison on November 18th, 2013. No Limit wanted him bad, and 5 days after he was released, they would get their revenge. Tyshawn Posto Anderson was shot in the 2700 block of East 80th Street, just around the corner from his South Chicago home, about 11:05 p.m. Saturday. Posto was standing in a hallway on the first floor. Suddenly Crazy James and Mad Max came and ran up to him and shot Posto in the head. Posto was rushed in critical condition to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 11:50 p.m. According to authorities, relatives described Anderson as joyous, playful, and a typical teenager. He liked tinkering with electronics, they said, and could often be found watching TV or playing video games with his siblings. He was trying to get his life straightened out, said Anderson's grandfather. During the year 2013, KTS Vaughn also killed 2 innocent people on 2 different occasions when he was sliding on Sircon City gangsters and NLMB. This is very unknown information and I have not found the names of the 2 innocent he killed. KTS Vaughn never wanted to leave witnesses. If a person was in the way, then he shot that person as well. He had no mercy at all. He really went all in on everything he did. In 3 years, KTS Vaughn had caught 8 bodies, and only God knows if he has taken more lives than that. The ops really hated him, they wanted him bad. No Limit members constantly commented on his Instagram posts, mocking him. In 2014, they were close to killing him. KTS Vaughn got locked up in early 2014. He was then released in mid-2014. Crazy James and some other NLMB members caught KTS Vaughn walking with another guy. They pulled up next to them, and Crazy James shot him in his chest, and then they drove away from the place. KTS Vaughn was in hospital for several weeks during surgery, and eventually miraculously survived the shot that hit him close to the heart. KTS Vaughn wanted smoke with everyone. KTS Vaughn had many beefs with sets all over the city, especially on the south side. After THF 46 killed Vaughn's cousin Zico from 051 Young Money, Vaughn started hating mainly THF 46, but also 600 and O Block, because they were constantly mocking his dead cousin. 600 was also constantly on Twitter, mocking Posto. However, KTS Vaughn knew that it was not his beef, and that KTS could not go to war against THF 46, O Block or 600. He also hated them because NLMB was close to them, much thanks to Doo-Wop and Capo. Capo, who shot Prince Cutthroat while sliding with NLMB, and then went straight to O Block, woofing at KTS through FaceTime. Long story short, Vaughn and other KTS members actually paid THF 46, O Block and 600 a visit. Nothing major happened. Some say Vaughn fired shots at THF 46, but I highly doubt that. KTS did not want to get involved. Vaughn knew that it was not really their business. They also had in mind what happened when Black Mob came looking for Capo on Lamron's block.
Big Glow say this old block. He said this old block, this shit should be no block. This shit should be no block.
Fuck trains on my whole week out here, boy.
Gang gang it.
Gang gang, kiddo, bro, gang gang.
Just as Ida described 051 Melly in a live stream on Instagram, One could also describe KTS Vaughn. Ide said that Melly is one of those guys who simply did too much. He did too much on the internet, and too much on the street. It was the same with KTS Vaughn. He got too many enemies. His day would come, it was just a matter of when. On June 23, 2015, he would also fall victim to gun violence. There are 3 different theories about who actually killed KTS Vaughn. Because KTS Vaughn did so much in the streets, it made many sets wanting to claim his death. The shooting happened in the 7500 block of South Ellis Avenue at 2:05 p.m. Vaughn was walking alone, completely drugged out. A car spotted him. 1 or 2 people from the car shot him several times, both in the body and in the head, to make sure he was dead. The 21-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene, police said. The first theory says that it was No Limit that killed KTS Vaughn. Choppa, NLMB, Mad Max, aka Simani, NLMB, and some other No Limit members were out looking for ops when they spotted Vaughn on the sidewalk. Choppa and Max first shot him multiple times from inside the car, then Max hopped out and shot him several times in the head to make sure he was dead. A day before, Choppa and KTS Vaughn had been beefing on social media, where Vaughn allegedly threatened Choppa. After they murdered Vaughn, they started mocking him constantly on social media and in songs. For example, in the song, Don't Get Exposed, with No Limit Diesel and 30 clips, they said, "Why do you think we smokers? 'Cause we took the name from the smoker." Max even immediately after the murder started calling himself, The Smoker, on Instagram. Choppa also uploaded videos from the night it happened, mocking KTS Vaughn. Choppa also posted pictures after the murder, that they were in a safe house for a month, and were on full alert all the time. Choppa is still alive. Max was killed 2018, Hal Rel, Lakeside, chased him around in his OG's house, and shot him. Doctors kept Max alive for several weeks after he was shot. Max allegedly said on his deathbed, drugged out, that it was Hal Rel who shot him.
If he ain't killed for Pasto, it wouldn't be right. He should've killed for Pasto and kept his pipe. But now he up there for no business. Why your dumb ass, dick?
The other theory about who killed him is that it was the Sircon City gangsters who killed him. However, it is very unclear who from Sircon City it would have been. There has been speculations about Eric and Barry from Sircon. Eric was killed 4 days after Vaughn was killed. Pocket Town got him while trying to get back for Vaughn. However, most of my sources say that Vaughn's killers are still alive. However, KTS itself has told Sircon not to claim him, because they did not do it. The third theory is that there were 4 people on the hit and all 4 were older vice lords. Apparently 3 of them are dead, and 1 is very careful about how he moves. According to that theory, it was a girl who set Vaughn up, and that was how they found out about his location. Thank you for watching this video. Like and comment on what you think of it. Rest in peace all who have lost their lives in the gang wars. This video has been extremely difficult to make. The East Side is not as well documented and known as the South Side. Hope you enjoy it.